Okay, this collector on the corner. I'm going to do a video on that second load that we got at the auction Labor Day. And what I wanted to show to here, I noticed this the other day. This was in that first load, but that tire says U-Haul on it.
Yep.
I've never seen a tire that says U-Haul on it, but it's a Goodyear tire.
I see it.
I believe that's a Goodyear tire. Goodyear made that for them.
Yeah, it's still cool.
It says Goodyear right there.
Oh, does it?
Or no, it says 4-ply tire. Tubeless. That's what it says Goodyear. But anyway.
That's all right.
I wasn't able to buy anything at that auction until they split off into 2 rings and they started selling stuff in the house and the outside. And the first thing I bought was this piece of hair elevator right here. It needs an engine on it, but it could be used. I give $12.50 for it.
Used for what, dear?
Put square bales of hay on and put them up in the barn.
Oh. Jungle Gym,
I got
maybe?
them 2 cylinders, and they was in that pile of stuff that Myers pump was in and some other stuff. And they may be good because somebody has took and put stuff in the holes there, so they thought something of them when they put them in the building. They may be good cylinders, I don't know.
Good.
Old tire machine. Oh, I know what I was going to show. This right here is a pond aerator. So what it is, it's an S-rotor.
Pretty cool.
If the wind was blowing, I've seen it move a little bit. We hadn't had much
I've seen it. I've seen it move too.
And I worked on the old tire machine and knocked some of the rust off of it. I done broke one tire down on it, figured out how the combination, how this particular one works. There's a little deal, got a stab in there.
Yeah, I see it.
That's so the rim don't spin around on you.
Yeah, I see it.
Anyway, little piece of it's right here. I've done let the air out of this and put some lube on it. It's mostly water.
Water and some soap. Did you take your valve core out?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
See, done broke down one side.
Whoa. That was too easy.
Yeah, it was too easy.
Go, Randy.
Get the other side.
Go, Randy, go.
Well, it's supposed to be bolted down.
Yeah, it's supposed to be bolted down. Yep, I understand. Well, we can pretend it did it.
Well, it's coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah, I see
What my problem is I need this top bead pulled over, and then it could lift up. Well, that tire machine might work some eventually. That's a Y2K machine.
And what's this right here, my dear?
Oh, that right there is a 3-point post hole auger. Runs off tractor PTO. Got a good right angle gearbox. I unbolted it and took it apart where we could load it. Because we had to load it by hand. My youngest son, he helped me load this stuff. Anyway, we picked that up, put it on there by hand. Did that elevator too.
Yes.
Well, I paid $5 for that.
Wow.
That's the second thing I bought.
Yes.
I bought these 3 lawnmowers.
Oh, treasures for sure.
For $10 for 3 of them. And this one right here is an Atlas tool company made it.
Oh, wow.
That there looks like something from Walmart.
Yep. May not be.
And this one right here is Ace Hardware.
Oh, boy.
Well, I drained the gas out of that and cleaned the carburetor and this and that.
I heard that one running.
And I had got it running. And I was out here mowing them bitter weeds.
What happened?
I hit a big chunk of iron that was out there that I didn't know was there. I don't think I put it there, but somehow it got there. Yeah, and I bent the crankshaft, so it ain't gonna run.
Oh, man.
These here will turn over. They ain't gonna run because they ain't making no spark.
Ah, maybe they need a spark plug.
Nah, you have to pull the flywheel off and sand the flywheel and clean it. Follow the points, you can probably get them sparking. The generator.
Yes. Oh, I heard the generator.
The gas didn't look too good in this generator. So I drained it all out. And luckily somebody turned the gas off at the tank and apparently run till the carburetor run dry. Because I put new gas in it. Yeah. As soon as I put new gas in it and I choked it a little, it started the first pull. Whoa! So my $50 gamble on my track generator paid off.
Yay!
Couldn't ask it to run any better than that.
Yep.
This right here.
What is that?
That was in the pile with them cylinders and that Myers pump. It's some kind of pump washer or something. I don't know just what it was. But
you could have left it.
Well, it's got a 1-horse motor on it.
Oh, okay.
Compassion start 1-horse motor. But I mean, I don't got no money in it. I bought that stuff in that corner for like $10. Okay, the piece of all resistance, or whatever you want to call it.
The pizza for resistance?
This thing don't need a fuel line because it's got a copper line.
Cool.
Inside that tank, it's got what they call the wick fuel system. It's got a piece of felt in there. And that fuel tank was real clean, and that felt was white looking. It's still pretty.
Wow.
This saw's got the cleanest air filter I've ever seen on an old saw.
You have an old steel? I can't find it. Okay.
It's original too because it's metal. The replacement you get, this top piece is plastic. Well, the carburetor wasn't gonna get it.
So what'd you do to the carburetor?
I took the carburetor apart. And the diaphragms was all stiff in it and everything. Because it's got a wick filter, it's a 64 saw. And I cleaned it up real good. And I believe it probably hasn't run in 50 years, at least. Well, that diaphragm was all stiff and everything. And I took it apart. I didn't have a kit for that carburetor, so I wasn't going to make it run. So what I did, I had another XL12 over there. Well, I called them old Frankenstein saw. I made out of pieces about 5 or 6 XL12. 54cc saw, just like this one. So I just borrowed the carburetor off it and put it on there. But
that works.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the crankshaft seals is leaking a little because I'm having to chase the tune on this thing. You know, like all them other guys, you got to carry a little screwdriver and keep tuning on it as you're using it.
Oh, I thought that was to make you feel important.
I'm going to attempt to start it.
Oh, boy. That's a skill saw on steroids.
That old rusty blade is dull too. Anyway, it needs a better blade on it. But probably after I run a tank or two through a gas through it, it'll probably start.
I think I'd rather use the electrical one. That one's too noisy.
But that's 54 cc's. This here is a super easy automatic I bought at that.
Well, I could run that one. It ain't even got a blade.
I paid $125 for this saw, and another saw. This in here.
Does it run?
Well, not really. It runs with
Well, there ain't no not really. It either runs or don't.
the fuel line. See the fuel line?
Is it gummy?
Gummy.
Ooh,
Shot.
cool.
Need a new fuel line. But
Oh, Lord, I love your butts.
I believe it's a pretty good little saw. It's dirty. Dirtiest saw I've had in a while.
Mm.
I mean, it was filthy dirty. Got compression.
Hey, I could run that saw.
I believe a kit and a carburetor
Mm-hmm.
in a new fuel line. So I'm gonna order a kit for the carburetor, and I got fuel line in there. I buy that fuel line by the 6-foot roll. But anyway, got this jack. I got 2 of them jacks, but this one right here
Yeah.
happened to be good.
Whoa, Nelly Bozo. That's pretty cool.
I got that jack in with a bunch.
What about that one down there? Oh, you done showed that one.
Well, no, I ain't showed that.
Oh, you haven't. Oh, okay. You guys
Now.
didn't see that.
I ain't unloaded that steam cleaner up there yet because I got all this barbed wire.
Uh-huh.
And I throw that barbed wire in there, I throw that rubber mat on top of it. So when I throw the other stuff in there, I wouldn't be tripping with barbed wire. I'm going to take that barbed wire out and dump it out of there. But that's not a high pressure
It's a
hot
mohawk.
water washer. That's actually a steam cleaner.
Yeah, mohawk.
It's got a little
steam
motor
cleaner.
underneath that runs a little bitty old piston pump that keeps hot
Hey,
water
I know
going
where
through
Knoll,
the coils.
Missouri's at. We
And
went
that
there
burner
one
on the
time.
back
Uh-huh.
burns diesel fuel, and it heats through them coils and it turns into steam.
Cool.
You could probably run a little steam engine off of one of them, but it's what's called steam cleaner. It
Ah.
ain't the same thing, but I bought half a dozen of them hot
I
water, high
know.
pressure washers, and none of them did been
No.
good. The coils is bad.
No. They're junk.
They was
I'm here to tell you. They junk.
in the comments, there was one of the people
Yeah.
was talking about that their daddy had a little blue saw or something, and I told him it might be a 101.
Mm-hmm.
This is XL 101.
Uh-huh.
It's 54cc saw, just like this one.
Mm-hmm. Just like this
But it's
one?
got more power. A lot newer. That in there's got a single
This in here?
round, looks a little round hole in there, and there's one reed valve in there. This has got a pyramid 4-valve reed valve in it.
Uh-huh.
It's just a little more efficient saw, and they intended for these to replace the XL12. They was going to phase the XL12 out.
Mm-hmm.
But the first ones they made had a single piece fuel tank, and it was epoxied together, and they went to leaking. So I made these 101 saws for, I only made them for a couple of years. I think this is the 60. Anyway,
Runs.
I put a real short bar on it,
Shoot, the dog got me.
and you'll notice
Sure,
it's not a roller tip bar.
What kind of bar
I
is
can't get along with roller tip bars. They come off. I spend more time putting the chain on with roller tip bars than I do sawing.
it? Mm-hmm.
But I put this short bar on it because I've been letting that oldest grandson use this saw to saw up little limbs. I'm right there watching him and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Got my hands on it too, but he's learning to use a chainsaw.
Yeah,
and
he's
he
9.
likes this little saw, and he can actually pull it and start it.
Cool.
Little Chris can start this little saw.
Wow.
It's got a compression release on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll lock the trigger, the compression release works. This one does too.
Oh, wow.
This one's got a compression release. If you look right there,
Mm-hmm.
that's a compression release right there on top of that cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
Down that
Cool.
little hole.
Cool.
And something I do every chainsaw I get.
What's that? Yeah, honey
I take
bunny?
them iron bolt and take them blog dogs, or whatever you want to call them off.
Mm-hmm.
If I change sharp,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need them on there. What good are them doing? Why would you want to take lock that into the log and lug your saw down and hurt your crankshaft, your bearings, and all that just to make it cut a little bit faster.
It's because he was jumping around. It was getting away.
Well, it just I can't see no use for having them sharp log dogs sticking on there, you know,
I
whatever
think I
you
know
want
what
to
you're
call.
talking
I got
about.
a pile of them in there. I've took off every chainsaw I ever owned, and I'm not going to run them on the chainsaw. And, you know, they'll have enough. If that chain's sharp, that thing will cut. You don't even have to push on it. It'll go on through a log.
I believe you.
Okay, I'm going to pick Debbie a bouquet of flowers
Oh,
here,
shoot the dog.
and then
Don't.
I'm going to tell a story.
Oh, man. I hope they're pretty red roses. Or lilacs. I like lilacs. Oh,
Here you are, honey.
God, you're so sweet, darling. Keep it.
These are what you call bitterweed flowers.
Yeah. The grandkids pick them for me all the time.
And when I grew up, we milked a cow. Mainly I did. And the old cow would eat them bitterweeds. And we drank that raw milk. And I didn't stick a bucket between my legs and milk into it. I milked in a little quart pitcher. Held that pitcher with one hand and milked one hand. I can milk both hands, but I do that. And if any dirt or a fly or something got in that little pitcher, I'd toss that out. Then after I got that pitcher full, I'd put it over in that other pail. And the other pail already had a straining rag on top of it, and I strained it right then. I'd carry it to the house, and they'd strain it again and put it in the refrigerator right then. It wasn't more than 10 minutes up from the cow till the time it made it to the refrigerator, and it never hurt us. And I milked a cow, and then me and Debbie got married. We didn't have a milk cow. Didn't have money to buy one, but I bought her 2 milk goats, and she would milk them goats. And them
It's only
goats didn't
'cause
eat
I
that
had
bitterweed. But that old cow, when I was a kid, she ate that bitterweed like crazy. And Mama'd always turn all the milk into chocolate milk to get us kids to drink it. You can still taste that old bitterweed, but it's one of the things we was used to it. You know, you get used to the taste of all milk's supposed to taste like bitter milk. Well, later on, we come on to some money, and Debbie had a couple $1,000. She bought 2 milk cows. All those boys was teenagers then. She bought this Holstein. Bought a Jersey first. And that Jersey was only hitting on 3 cylinders. There's 2 back teats and 1 front teeth. And she was hard to milk and cantankerous and wasn't a very good cow. The guy we bought her from cheated us.
Yeah.
But anyway, he lied about her, and we found it out, you know. So she went to using it to raise bucket calves, just nurse cow. Then she bought this Holstein. This Holstein, she was a real nice milk cow.
Yeah,
You'd leave 2 calves on her. If you wanted some milk, you put some grain out there in the pan and go out there and just milk whatever you wanted.
Yeah, anywhere. You didn't have to put her up or nothing. She was a good girl.
That Jersey'd eat bitterweed, and that Holstein would occasionally, so we was drinking chocolate milk. Neighbor lady down the road, older than us, she said she'd like to have a little bit of that Jersey milk. She wanted to put it in a jar and shake it up and make butter, or teach her grandkids how they used to make butter and all that. Debbie said, you won't want none of that. She eats that bitter weed. She said, that butter would stink your whole refrigerator up. And this is how you can always learn something. I'd been around, at that time, I'd probably been around cattle more than 40 years, milk cows. And this woman looked at my wife and she said, honey, you don't know how to stop her from eating that bitterweed? Debbie said, no. She said, when you milk her, put you a tablespoon.
No, it's like a 1/4 a cup.
Okay, put you a 1/4 cup of brown sugar on top of her feed. And he said, she'll get used to eating that brown sugar, and that bitterweed will taste so bad to her that she'll quit eating. And it actually worked. It worked. Yeah.
Hey there.
That's what I like about YouTube. As old as I am now, I can get on YouTube, and every day I'll learn something new. I've learned a lot about chainsaws. I didn't know it. I bought a brand new 923 homelite chainsaw. Paid $242 for that thing.
Why'd you do that?
Because I want a new chainsaw and I was cutting logs. And I bought that new saw, paid cash for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it never would idle good. It always died. And when it was hot, it'd be hard to start. I fooled with that thing, and I took it back over that old boy I bought it from 2 or 3 times. He'd adjust around on the carburetor, and it'd be just like it was before. And that's all, just never did work like it's supposed to. And I had it for years, and it never would idle good, never would start good. I bought one for $50, a used one that was a lot better than it. It was a 922, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had that old 923. I don't even know what happened to it, where it went to. I quit using it. Got different saws. And now I look back on it, what was wrong with that saw?
What was wrong with it?
It had a bad crankshaft seal. It was sucking air around the crankshaft, is why you couldn't adjust the carburetor. And that's all that was probably wrong with that saw.
If you could find it, you could fix it.
And that's what I'm kind of thinking about this one right here. I don't know. I've been having to chase the tune on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking...
Did it run very far?
It may have a bad crankshaft seal. The one on this side under the flywheel is the one it usually is, according to them chainsaw gurus I watch on there, Smitty and Can Custom, Leon, different ones. There's about 10 guys work on saws. But they say it's always dry under the flywheel, and it's usually the one under the flywheel side that goes bad. I'm hoping so, because there's a gearbox full of 90-weight grease. Whoa. On this side. I'd have to take all that out to get to this on this side.
I didn't know that.
So I'm going to try this a little bit, and if it don't start doing better, I'm going to pull that off. And I've got a whole bunch of seals. I ordered a big bunch of them off the internet. Anyway, but I've learned a lot about chainsaws and all different kinds of stuff, no matter what you want to know about. If you'll get on YouTube and ask, there's somebody on there who knows. There's 3 or 4 people know. I watched about 5 videos the other night when me and Debbie got in bed about people straightening crankshafts.
I know. I thought that lawnmower would be fixed by now.
Some of them beat on them with hammers. Some of them used a great big long pipe and tied them to a tree. And some of them had an apparatus they said cost about $300 called a crankshaft straightener. And I was thinking that's what I'm
And how much did you pay for it?
They paid $300.
No, I'm talking about the lawnmower.
I give $10 for 3 lawnmowers.
Okay, and that breaks down to like $3.33. I'll just push it over there in the ditch.
Well, I want to use it. I want to mow them bitter weeds.
Ain't you got udders?
I got another little story.
Oh, shoot the dog.
When I was a kid, I was milking this old cow. And there's a neighbor. He had land bordered my daddy's back 40. Daddy had 3 40s in a row, 120 acres. Back there, this old boy he had registered Angus cattle, sold registered cattle. He had this young bull, probably weighed about 900 pounds. And he come down there and he was fighting with our bull and this, that, and the other. Acted like he was a little bit mean. I guess he was just used to eating sweet feed and being petted, wasn't scared of humans, I don't know. So I was in there milking that old milk cow, and we'd take and put wheat shorts in there and mix a little sweet feed with it. He smelled that sweet feed, and he wanted it. He's wanting in that barn bad. So after I got done milking that cow, I put the cow over another stable with her calf. Let her calf finish nursing her out. I opened up, let that old bull get in there. And he got in there. I got him up in the front part of the barn. I called that old bull.
I know this story.
I called him. I said, you need to come get your old bull. Well, I had to carry water from the creek for 2 days, water that bull, feed him a little bit. He finally showed up. Old guy. He was close to 80. And he gets down there in his old Ford truck, and he can barely back up there to that loading chute. But he finally gets that old 58 Ford, blue and white, backed up to the loading chute, and we get his bull up in there. And the old bull don't want to go up in there, and I throw some sweet feed in there, and he goes in the back of the truck. And he leaves the barn, he goes on up, and I think, well, he's leaving with his bull. And he stopped in the yard. And I walked up there and closed the yard gate and walked over, and he was standing around, and I said to him, I said, something wrong? He said, yeah. He says, you know, that's a registered Angus bull. I said, yeah. And he said, well, I think I ought to get a breed feed. And I looked at him, I said, you know, we got the kind of bull we want. We don't want them Angus cattle. We don't want them horned Hereford or them polled Hereford. The only difference between a polled Hereford, horned Hereford, and the Angus is at the end of summer, that calf will be knee-high, except that white-faced calf will have the pink eye. I said, you get your old bull out of here. And I said, don't let him come back. I said, you let that bull come back here, I'll make a steer out of him for you. And I was just a young boy then, maybe 15, 16. Well, he left, wanting a breed feed. I was mad. Daddy worked away. He was working in Indiana. 2 days later, that old bull was back.
It's because you treated him good.
So that time, I let that cow on the other side, and I put some more sweet feed up in. That bull got in there, and he stuck his head in that head gate where we locked that cow in. And I had a rope on it. I pulled that over and tied him up there. And I got another rope on his back leg, and I cinched it up through a well pulley up on the roof of the barn, and I laid him over kind of on the side, one leg way up. And we had these big old clamps that we used.
For castrating.
Yep. So I got on there, and I got on that first one. I had to do it one each cord at a time. I got on that first one, and it was all I could do. And while I was doing it, that bull was bellowing and shaking. I thought he was going to tear the barn down. He had that whole barn shaking, and he was carrying on like crazy. And I got him done. He kicked, and manure and stuff went everywhere, but I was determined, boy, and I went down there and got the clamps off and got on the second one. He wasn't quite as bad. And when I finally got them second ones down, he bawled like a baby calf for his mama. So I let him up, opened that door, got a stick, and I chased him on back there, and there was a swept coal line run across Daddy's back 40. And there's 2 gates there where the swept coal guys go back and forth. And I went off there, and I opened that gate, and I heard that old bull back there, and he walked real slow all the way back up to that guy's place. Anyway, so I fixed that bull. About 3 weeks later, the sheriff come visit me, and I denied it. And when Daddy found out about it, he'd give it a good number 9. So that'll be all, and good luck and goodbye to you.
Thank y'all, and please like and subscribe. Bye.